All right. Hello. Let's go ahead and keep reading today. If you remember correctly, yesterday Milligan got caught, and they assume that he is the spy, and he's kind of taking on that responsibility to save the kids. So we're going to pick up with the chapter that's called Sticky's Discovery, and it's on page 411. M. Captured. Must face Whisperer tomorrow. Please advise. Still no response, Sticky reported from the window. The others waited in depressed silence. Although the stomach virus had spread like wildfire, already the bathrooms and the Best of Health Center were crowded with students. The success of their scheme had done nothing to boost their spirits. Not even the sight of Jilson hurrying down the corridor with her hand over her mouth, clutching a paper bag in case she didn't reach the bathroom in time. Not even this managed to cheer them. Time was slipping away, and they'd been forced to abandon the hope that they'd nurtured in the backs of their minds. The hope that if things went terribly wrong, Milligan would be there to save them. After another interminable minute had passed, Kate said, "I'm sick of waiting. I say forget the plan, and let's try to rescue Milligan instead." Sticky was taken aback. "But he's under heavy guard. We won't stand a chance." "We don't stand a chance either way, do we?" said Kate. "That isn't like you, Kate," said Rainey, surprised. "I think the broadcasts are getting to you." Kate frowned. You're right. I'm sorry." "Wait, here comes a response," Sticky said. "What in the world? Can that really be it?" He began signaling back to them with the flashlight. "For crying out loud, what are you doing, George Washington?" demanded Constance. Though the others wouldn't have thought it possible, Constance grew steadily crankier as the improvement drew closer. "Did they send a message or not?" "I'm asking them to repeat it." But when the message was repeated, Sticky was left scratching his head. "It's just an old saying. Laughter is the best medicine." "Are they joking?" Kate said. "Maybe it's their way of saying for us to cheer up and have hope," Sticky said. Rainey didn't think so. "That's too light-hearted. They wouldn't expect us to feel like that, not with Milligan taken prisoner. It's a riddle of some kind. It's important advice. We just have to figure out what it means." "For once, I'd just like a straight answer," Constance grumbled. "It's ridiculous that they do it this way. It isn't right." "They have to be careful, don't they?" Sticky said. "If they gave us a straight answer and someone saw it, we'd be in even worse shape." "How much worse shape could we possibly be in? I'm tired of being careful, and I'm tired of all their dumb codes, and I'm tired of you all treating me like a stupid baby." "Easy now, Constance," Rainey said, as calmly as he could. "We're all frustrated, and we're all upset. And I know you're scared." "Shut up," Constance snarled. "I'm sick of you too. Who made you the king anyway?" "Why don't you shut up?" Rainey snapped. With that, the first time Rainey had ever spoken so sharply to her, Constance lapsed into a furious silence. The others, disgruntled, turned their energy towards solving the riddle. But Sticky and Kate were not the best puzzle solvers, and Rainey was lost in his mental fog bank, and the Whisperer, high up in its tower, kept shimmering like a lighthouse, beacon through the fog. After half an hour of useless guessing, the children had come no closer to an answer, and Constance abandoned her silence in order to mock their efforts. Rainey put his head in his hands. "Okay, Constance, I give up. Is that what you want? None of us can concentrate while you're being this way. I say we just adjourn and get a few hours of sleep. Maybe a little rest will help." Constance, who felt desperate indeed, could not control herself. Rest, she sneered. I thought what we needed was laughter. Isn't that what that stupid old Benedict said? Well, hearty heart, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. You're hopeless, said Kate, who'd been in an awful mood to begin with and now had lost all her patience. Rainy's right. Let's just go back to our room. She scurried up her rope into the ceiling, and as she hauled Constance after her, she whispered down, I'll be back before dawn. Or I will, at least. If she's still acting like this, she can rot in our room for all I care. The gap in the ceiling closed. Rainy and Sticky looked at each other. Everything seemed to be falling apart, and neither boy could hide his worry. It was written plainly on both of their faces. If you think of anything at all, Rainy said. Sticky nodded. I'll wake you up. You do the same. Fully dressed and fully miserable, the boys climbed into their beds, still going over the message, again and again in their heads. Laughter is the best medicine. Laughter is the best medicine. By midnight, neither had come up with anything. By 1 o'clock, Sticky was whimpering to himself to sleep. By 2 o'clock, Rainy was abandoning his last letter to Miss Prumel, starting over, then abandoning a new one. Too anxious to even think about being anxious, his mind returned to Mr. Benedict's message. Why laughter, he thought for the 100th time. Why medicine? It's something that cures an illness or solves a problem, or maybe, but what problem? But the answer remained maddeningly elusive. Rainy decided he would just stay awake. There was no way he could sleep anyway, not until he had figured out the message. Having made this decision, he sighed, he rolled over to get comfortable, and fell asleep. Sometime before dawn, Rainy woke with a start. His mind had been working furiously as he slept. He swung down off the bunk and shook Sticky. Sticky opened one eye, then closed it to open the other, as if too afraid to look at the world with both eyes at once. What? Sticky, wake up! This time, Sticky blinked both eyes. What time is it? He sniffed and he rubbed his head, coming slightly more awake. Oh, has something happened? I have an idea about what Mr. Benedict meant, Rainy said excitedly. I just don't think it's quite right yet. I think maybe it's half right. Let me tell you about it, and then you tell me what you think. Sticky sat up, fully awake now. I'm all ears. But no sooner had Rainy begun than a knock sounded on their door, and SQ Pedalion, not waiting for a response, poked his head into the room. What? Already up? Good boys. You must have guessed all the other messengers are down for the count, and Mr. Curtin needs you again, right away. He's had to cancel half of his night sessions thanks to this stomach bug. Good thing you two are over it. Can you imagine anything worse than not being able to go when Mr. Curtin summons you? The moment had arrived too soon. No one had expected such an early morning session. Snatching a pen from his desk, Rainy scribbled something on the palm of his hand. What you doing? SQ said. Just writing something down. I don't want to forget. I do that sometimes, SQ reflected, only I usually forget that I wrote something on my hand, and I wash it off before I remember. What are you writing? Oh, remind me to tell you later, Rainy said. Right, now hurry on and get dressed. Don't want to keep Mr. Curtin waiting. The boys threw on their clothes and followed SQ out the door. In the corridor, a few weak-kneed, pasty-faced students were making their way to and from the bathrooms, and a group of silent helpers worked double duty to keep the floors mopped. SQ cheerful now that he'd made up for his earlier blunder, smiled and patted the miserable students as he passed. Hang in there, chins up, look on the bright side, it could always be worse. The trip to the Whispering Gallery didn't seem nearly long enough. The blindfolding, the walk to the secret entrance, the exhausting climb up the countless steps, all of it seemed to pass in one excruciating instant. Then SQ was removing their blindfolds and pressing the intercom button. Reynard Muldoon and Sticky George Washington here for their session, Mr. Curtin. Oh no. Their time has come too soon. Rainey had an idea about what the message might have meant, but he didn't get a chance to tell Sticky, and he didn't get a chance to tell the girls yet either before they were made to go back to the Whispering Gallery to have a session. So we'll see what happens when I read next time.